Do you have leaks on your handle coming down from your sunroof on your Dodge Ram truck? Today's video, I'm going to show you how to replace the drain tube from the sunroof down to the exit. On our 2006 Dodge Ram truck, we have a sunroof on it, and I've been noticing some leaking coming down, and it ends up dripping about right here on the handle. And what that is there's a drain line or drain tube that leads from the sunroof down this pillar and then exits out down here behind the door seal. So what we're going to do, I already did the other side because it was leaking really bad and I didn't have a leak on this side at the time. Thought, oh, I'll just leave it. But now this one is dripping too as well. The drain tube that Dodge uses is a blue corrugated tubing. It's really thin, and it also, once the heat gets to it, you know, day after day, or we're in Arizona, so it's really bad, then it becomes brittle and just cracks. And so then what happens is, you know, obviously it leaks. And I found on the other side that this headliner is not a typical headliner. The headliner has a backing to it, like a waterproof backing. So if that does leak, it does end up just traveling down right here. So I found out that there's no damage going on to the headliner, which is really nice because typically, you know, it trashes that too. So what I'm using is what I used on their side, and what I'll use on this side is 5/16 inch vinyl tubing clear. That's 5/16 ID inside diameter. And I'll show you how to go ahead and do that once I get everything disassembled. What I discovered on when I did the other side, I don't have to take down this headliner, which is really nice. I do have to lower it to be able to get my hands to the rubber boot that secures to the drain itself. So, but I do need to take off the visors. I need to take off the information center, which was no big deal. And I need to take off both of these pillars on each side. So this headliner just kind of creeps down about 3 or 4 inches. So I can get my hand in there, get that out, get the old tube out. You do have to take the pillars off, and that'll expose the drain that's going down the pillar to the exterior. This lower panel also needs to be removed, so you can get your fingers there and kind of guide the tube where it needs to go to. First thing we're going to need is a T20. I have a little T20 Torx driver that I'll use, and that's just going to be able to take off the visors and make sure that these screws, T20 screws, you put them someplace where you can find them again. So I'm going to go ahead and put everything on the dash for the visors, and then I'll put the visor itself on the dash so I know where to find everything when I'm done. All right, got that down. There's the light assembly for this. We're going to just go ahead. I'm going to let this hang because I'm not too worried about it. Okay, next thing we need to do, we got the 2-axis. I was wrong before. There's 2 of them on it, 1 on each side of the grip, and those are 10 millimeter. I'm just going to take that, unscrew those, put my nuts and my taps up here. Okay, once that's done, I'm just going to pull down and just pull up like that, and it's out. Okay, now we're going to remove the holder that the visor clicks into to keep it secure. And what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is there's a separation in it. You're just going to pry that back, and that's going to separate. Okay, once that's done, we got to move it. Pull that down. And that it's just like that. So it's just going to pop down. That's going to unretain it from the clip that's in the roof. Okay, so on the front side of it, there's a hole. It's going to screw, and I believe it's going to be Phillips. It is. So I'm going to take that. Make sure we keep our screw. Put that on the dash. And then I should be able to hopefully pop these out of the retainer. Yep. So that's down. Okay, so we're down here down here. And if you just pull down lightly, the headliner will come down. But I need to go ahead and remove this one. I'm going to pull this clip. I'm just going to go minimum here real quick, just to see if I can get away with not going crazy on it. Okay, that's down. So I'm going to go ahead and quit here on the disassembly. I can get to the boot that's on the drain line. So here's the blue tube right here, and that's the tube, the drain line for the sunroof coming up from the top. So I'm going to bring you over to this side and show you where it's connected on the boot. So you can see right there, I got the camera on the front view where the boot actually goes into the drain. So I'm going to disconnect that there. It just pulls out. So once I get that out, I'm going to take that out, and then there's some retaining clips right there, and then also retaining clips going down the pillar that need to be popped off. I'm going to go ahead and do those off camera because of trying to get light in here. So once I get that done, I'll show you what we're going to do next. Alrighty, so I've got the tube loose. All it was, as far as these clips go, just use a flat bladed screwdriver, go into the clip. When you see them, it'll be totally self-explanatory on what you need to do. You just pry in a little bit on the clip, wedge it to the side, and it pops open. And that's what just retains this. Now, look at this. I did find this on the tubing itself. This is the upper part where the most heat, and I can just go like this. I can just crumble it with my fingers, and it just pops apart. The one that came down actually had holes in it from being yeah, right here it is. So it was disintegrated. You can see right there that that's no doubt where the leak was. And again, I just crush it with my hands. And that's the reason I know I could order this from Dodge, this new tubing, but I don't want to do it again. Living in Arizona where it's 100 and some odd degrees during the summer, it just wrecks this pipe. It's just not good for it. So, okay, so we're down to this. We want to keep this boot. Do not throw that away because our tubing is going to fit in this. So we want to keep that, and we're just going to put that to the side. So now we need to remove this, going down the truck, and try to also feed in the new pipe at the same time. All right, so the exit for the drain is, you have the wire harness right here, the rubber boot between the door and the frame itself. Right behind that, there is the exit, or the drain exit for this tubing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a flat screwdriver. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to pry that boot off, and then I'm going to start feeding this tubing down this way. After I get to a certain point, I'm going to connect on my clear tubing, and I'm going to bring that out, that exit, and try to keep out of the way at the same time. So that boot is right back here. Okay, so there's not a lot of light here. I'm sorry about that, but I'm just going to go ahead and get this thing wedged out. I can start pulling this down, and it's coming out. So I've got the drain boot right here with the old drain. Now I'm going to tie on my tubing onto that, feed that down. On the other side, it was just disintegrated all the way down. I had to actually fish it down. It was a pain, and I'd get my fingers in here until I could finally get it, pulled out of the hole. And then once that's done, then I could end up rerunning it. So I've got my tube, and I've got my new tube. I'm going to match those up together, and I'm going to take some Gorilla Tape, because it's super strong anyway. And I'm going to join them up together and just wrap that around like so. So now I've got a nice strong bond. I'm going to go ahead and tug on it though, make sure it's going to follow and not slip off. Okay, so now we're going to go back down to the drain. I'm going to just pull and feed at the same time. Okay, and there's my tube. So it's out. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure coming up here and all the way up to the drain, and then I'll clip this, and then I'll get the boot glued onto the new pipe. All right, so that's gonna go routed that way. And basically right here, I'm gonna cut it. Okay, I think that's gonna work out real well. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get my boot and we'll show you what to do. Okay, I've got the new boot. I still have this piece stuck in here. I'm gonna go ahead and crush that with my fingers and see if I can get that out. I may have to take a screwdriver. What we're gonna end up wanting to do is we wanna get all the blue out of this boot here. If you need to, just take a pair of pliers, crush that. That does have old glue on it. Okay, that's out of the boot. So I've got the rest of it right here. It wasn't glued, it was just compressed on there. Okay, so the new pipe does fit in there nice and snug. I still want to put some adhesive on that. So what I have weather stripping adhesive. I have this laying around from just other projects. So I'm gonna go ahead, this is gonna be kind of yucky. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit, not much at all, just enough to get a coating in there. And this stuff dries extremely fast. And I don't want to go in too far. I'm just going to kind of try to push the pipe right to the end of that. And it's already getting hard. Okay, I'm gonna just take my glue and kind of smooth it around it. So that's done. The connection is complete. I'm gonna go ahead and push the boot onto the drain. And then I'm just gonna work backwards and get my clips put back on. And then once I get that done, I'll show you how to finish it up. Okay, so what I did, I got the boot back on. There's the tubing there. I got it in the clips. Going down this, what I did was I just fed the excess slack back towards down here where the drain is. Now here it kind of gets into the issue. The boot that's on the old one, it's almost impossible to get that thing back in and get it back into the hole. I tried it on the other one. I tried it and it just wouldn't go. It's not glued. It pulls right off as well off the blue tubing. But the problem is there is no room to get your fingers back in here to do anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut that tubing about 3/4 of an inch once it leaves the frame, and it will just, once the water drains, it'll just drain down just like it did before. Then I'm going to take silicone and I'm going to just put it in that hole to go ahead and make that weather tight again. So that's my next step. All right, so all the tubing is replaced now. I've got my silicone in the hole around the exit tube, the drain tube. So I had just 100% silicone squeeze tube, and I had just my latex glove, and I smeared it in that hole to the point where it was completely covered again. So that'll dry. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble everything, put it all back together, and the job is done. It's not that big of a deal, but it just takes some patience. The biggest part on the job is just be patient. Don't scratch your headliner. Take all the clips down that you need to take to the point where you have enough room to work, but you don't want to be stressing the headliner down. It is really a hardy strip. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and reassemble everything right now. I hope you liked the video. It was kind of a tough video to shoot with the lights and the darks and the tight spaces. But I hope it helps you. If you have any questions, though, let me know. I've done this on both sides, so I kind of got an idea of what's going on and how you need to do it. So the biggest part is obviously fishing that tube down to get it to the exit. The other side, when I did it, it was so brittle, I had to fish it down by, just by feel. It was a pain. But luckily this side wasn't as bad. So yeah, if you have any questions, like I said, give us a holler and I'll be happy to get back with you. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, and thanks for watching DIY on the House.